Welcome everybody to our first edition of High School Sports Weekly. It's presented each and every week by our friends at OS1 Sports Injury Clinic in Hoover. We'll tell you more about them in just a bit. But to go back, I said it's our first edition. Truth is, it's really not. It's our first in more than 25 years though. This is a show that I started with Philip Pritchard, who's behind the scenes and you won't see because he won't put himself in front of the camera. But he, along with Jeff Beavers, do so much of the work to make this show possible each and every week. Something Philip and I did 25 years ago was to focus on some local high schools. We're doing that again this year with spotlight primarily on Class 7A Region 3. We'll be following not just football season, but all sports throughout the course of the school year, and we're excited to be able to, through social media, bring this to you each and every week. But it's Alabama, so of course we're going to talk a lot of football. The high school game in this great region, we're going to talk about it when we come back. OS1 Sports Injury Clinic in Hoover is a proud partner of High School Sports Weekly. OS1 has fellowship-trained sports medicine physicians right here in your community. There's no appointment needed. Just drive up to the door. We've got X-ray and MRI on site. So now, being injured or having an orthopedic issue doesn't mean you need to be exposed to sick people. Avoid the hassle and time of going to an ER when you can get more specialized care in a more timely fashion at OS1. Open 7 days a week to serve you. It's OS1 Sports Injury Clinic. And find them online at bettersooner.com. In our first edition of High School Sports Weekly, we want to kind of set the table for what is thankfully the first week of high school football. It has been quite a roller coaster ride throughout our world, but especially for the high school kids trying to get things going. In fact, one team in our coverage area didn't know at the start of the week who they're even going to be playing in the first game, and we've got another that will have to back up the start of their year for a couple of weeks because of COVID-19 as well. So let's get into what is the opening week of action we'll be telling you about right here on High School Sports Weekly. It's presented by OS1 Sports Injury Clinic in Hoover. We get things started off with what is called the Go Gold Bowl. This is the second year of this matchup, hosted by Thompson High School, and it's a battle of the 7A state champions from a year ago, the Warriors, and the 6A champions from last year. That's the Oxford Yellow Jackets. Should be a great matchup there at Thompson High School to get things started. That's a Saturday matchup between those two clubs. In addition to Thompson taking on Oxford, we've also got Spain Park going on the road. They're going to be in Huntsville to take on the Panthers. Hewitt-Trussville will travel, but not very far, going to Pinson Valley for their opener against the Indians. Tuscaloosa County is going to be at home, and it'll be another Tuscaloosa area team. The Stampede of Paul Bryant High School will come to see the Wildcats. You're scheduled, or originally we had on the schedule, Vestavia Hills at Mountain Brook, but due to COVID-19 and the illness for Coach Buddy Anderson, and also in trying to make sure that you keep everybody safe and evaluate the players there for the Rebels, they're going to miss the first 2 weeks of the season, so that annual matchup with Mountain Brook will not take place, unfortunately. Gadsden City is going to be on the road taking on Etowah in a game that literally was put together the week of week one. Hoover thought they were going to be playing Dothan High School, but on Monday, Dothan had a number of players who came down with COVID-19. They're being quarantined. They had to find a replacement. Central of Phoenix City was scheduled to play a team in Georgia. They have put off the start of the high school season there in the Peachtree State. So Central of Phoenix City, Hoover High School, they're going to get together and play on Friday, and they'll do that there in Phoenix City, Alabama, in what should be a good one. We mentioned Thompson taking on Oxford. One other note about that game, that's the annual Go Gold Bowl. It's got a bigger importance than just the matchup itself between those two teams, because that game is done to bring awareness to the fight against childhood cancer. We're all excited to have a little bit of a sense of normalcy, and the playing of games allows us to have that. We've been so concerned about COVID-19 coronavirus, but it'd be nice, as odd as it may sound, to only worry about a sports injury. And obviously we're hoping that there's anything serious, but there's a great opportunity for those that do deal with sports injuries, whether it's the weekend warrior or whether it's a high school athlete, to get the best care that you can find anywhere, and it's a little bit different approach. OS1 Sports Injury Clinic is in Hoover, and they provide a fellowship-trained sports medicine physician right in your community. It's very different. There's no appointment needed. You drive up to the door. It's not like going to a hospital, and hey, we're really fortunate in the Birmingham metro area. We've got health care as good as you'll find anywhere in the country. But if you're looking for great care a little more quickly, you're able to find that at OS1. They're open 7 days a week. As I said, no appointment is needed. They've got an X-ray and MRI opportunity available on site. And again, being injured or having an orthopedic issue doesn't mean that you need to be exposed to sick people right now. That's the beauty of OS1 Sports Injury Clinic in Hoover. You can avoid the hassle and time of going to an ER, and you can get more specialized care in a more timely fashion at OS1. We want you to learn more about it, and you can do that by going to their website. It's bettersooner.com. bettersooner.com, the online home for OS1 Sports Injury Clinic. Well, the first chapter of High School Sports Weekly, presented by OS1 Sports Injury Clinic, almost in the books. But before we close and move on to week 2, we want to tell you about what's coming up in that next edition of our show. We'll be recapping the start of the high school football season. We wondered if it would get here. Thankfully it has, and we'll be recapping some of the top action from week number 1. We'll also be introducing you to our friends from National Scouting Report. They'll be providing the latest information on the great talent around the country, and specifically in our area when it comes to college recruiting and what those college scouts are saying about players in Class 7A and Region 3. And also, our producers are already working on some of the great individual stories from our area that we look forward to telling you about throughout the course of the year. So stay with us as we'll continue throughout the course of this high school season. It's High School Sports Weekly, presented by OS1 Sports Injury Clinic.